Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Morning, everyone.
Hello.
All right, ladies.
Morning.
Hi.
Do we have to read this first part? Portage County Board of Commissioners.
I think so.
Okay. All right, ladies. Jackie, you're up.
So we called this discussion this morning about 2024 wage rates, especially regarding the budget and planning for the budget. Two things in particular that we're gonna hopefully discuss and make decision on: potentially revising the wage scale, and then also discussing what to do for 2024 for those that are not on the wage scale. So actually I have copies of the potential revised wage scale. Do you
Want to pass it?
pass it around?
I need one more, honey.
You got, or did,
Okay. Jeez, I should have wrote my readers.
I apologize.
My
I was like,
God.
I need to get bigger paper.
they have that fold-out 7 sheets.
Yeah, I need like the bed sheets.
I need a whiteboard.
Okay, so this is the proposed revised wage scale. And so what we did was, this started with us looking at the people that are on the scale that are above, that were above the midpoint. The midpoint used to be 6. Those people were waiting every other year for an increase. So there were a lot of people in 2023 that received a 0% increase, and we're realizing this is becoming challenging for some people to not get an increase every other year.
Especially with everything going on.
Right.
And our insurance gonna go up.
Yeah, the increase in costs and things like that, it's
Yeah.
becoming a little bit problematic for some employees. So we thought what we could do, without changing the numbers on the scale dramatically, is expand out from the midpoint up to the top of the scale, expand it out, so that every step becomes 2 steps. So instead of waiting 2 years to get one larger increase,
Just
each
split
employee
that.
would get a smaller increase each year. And so that's what this new scale reflects. It goes from, it was 12 steps and now it's 18 steps.
Plus, it takes them out longer to where they redline
Mhm.
as well.
Right, they have more years until they would redline. And the midpoint is now at 9. And you'll notice at the top from step 7 through 18, it's a little bit smaller increase, but that's because we broke it out. We broke each one out into 2.
So you took the 2-year step increase and you just divided it over 2 years versus once every 2 years.
Right, and we created, for every step, there's 2 now.
Okay.
Does that then, so they would get these, this percentage, plus then cost of living,
No, so it would just be this percentage.
that percentage each year?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's nice they can look at and see each year as
Yeah.
it's
Mhm.
drawn out, as opposed to what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
And I think this will simplify things. Once we get everybody sort of recalibrated to this new scale, then everybody gets a step every year instead of,
every
you know,
2 years.
yeah,
and then
once you
get a
hit the
lump.
midpoint, it's like, well, do I get a step? You know, and it was challenging for budget purposes too, I think. So what we would do with this, once, you know, if the board approves it, we would work with the departments to, for everyone that's over the midpoint, sort of recalibrate each employee to where they are on the grade. You know, what is their wage, and so what's their new step? And then in 2024, if they got a raise in 2023, they would get 1 step. If they did not get, I should say step increase, because everybody got the COLA. If they got a step increase in 2023, they would go up 1 step. If they did not get a step in 2023, then we would refigure where they belong to make them whole.
I guess I asked the question wrong. You said COLA. I said cost of living. So the COLA would be plus this?
No.
No, so this sort of takes the place of the COLA, like
Yeah.
this is their plan for
The
their
only people we
increases.
look at for the COLA are the people that are not part of the wage scale and are not part of a collective bargaining unit,
Mhm.
is the ones that we look at COLA for.
Right, so this would be their plan for all, all the years out, unless at some point in the
Mhm.
future,
But every
inflation
3
is.
years, we review this, and
Right.
every 5 years, it gets redone.
So yeah, if inflation is out of
Yeah.
control, then that's a different story, and we would readdress.
So the only group that wouldn't be with that are the courts? Or
There's,
are we gonna try to give the increases along with everybody else?
so that's the second prong of
Okay.
the discussion. There are a few departments that are not on this wage scale, so, my recommendation, to be fair for the people on the scale, is that we would give, what is the increase on the upper end of the scale as an increase to the departments that are not on the scale, so the 1.25%
Mhm.
that's on the upper end of the scale, to give that as a budget increase to those that are not on the scale, to do with, what they will, just to their salary budget.
How many departments aren't on the scale?
I have 8, including all the courts, that includes all, 5,
Oh, the five of them
Five
as well,
courts.
okay.
so it's in addition to them 3 others.
Mhm.
But understanding, they can court order and they get way more.
Point, I've had this conversation about that.
Mhm.
And that's where the fair equity of saying, hey, we're all doing the same thing, we're all gonna get the same raises, and be able to give the courts, so the judges don't feel necessary to court order us, but they get the same thing.
Mhm.
Well, to be fair, I think it depends on where you fall on the scale. Because if you're 0 to,
9. 0 to 6?
well, 0 to 6, and now 0 to 9, it could be a little bit higher than the 1.25 or 1 point
Yeah,
whatever.
the
Right.
COLA is
The lower
projected to be
steps.
3%, a little over 3 for
Because
next
by
year.
design, we were trying to recruit people on step 1 through 6.
Mhm.
And so that was why we had the annual increase, and they were much higher. Let me see here, 4.7, 4.5, but again, that was only steps 1 through 6.
Right, as you progress along the scale, it gets smaller.
I just didn't want you to think every single person is getting 1.25. That's not necessarily the case.
Say that one more time. I get the 1.25. What you said, every single person. I'm looking at
Well, because
this.
I thought maybe you thought everybody was getting 1.25, and that's not necessarily the case.
For the groups that aren't with the county.
That is the case, yes.
That's the group that
They're
I'm
non-bargaining.
concerned about.
That
This
is
is, I
correct,
get this,
yes.
this is reasonable for everybody else
On the
that's
wage
underneath
scale.
on the wage
Yeah.
scale. What I'm thinking of are the folks that aren't on the wage scale.
Yeah, that is Jackie's recommendation.
And that's one of the ones that we may have difficulties with.
So I guess, we have a resolution if the board wants to move forward with the wage scale. And we also have a journal entry if the board wants to move forward with the recommendation.
Of the 1.25.
Mhm.
Our the Clemens Nelson, did they finish their stuff?
That's what this is.
Yeah, that's what this is.
And this is what part of it also
Okay.
is, so I can hand these out.
Yes.
Let's go. There's a whole pile.
So do you want us to, we'll go in order. I'll make a motion to, the Board of Commissioners approves the 1.25 wage adjustment for all non-participants of the Board of Commissioners wage scale effective on January 1st, 2024, as recommended by the County Administrator and the Department of Budget and Financial Management.
Second?
Roll call.
Sabrina?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
Tony?
Yes.
Okay, I'll make a motion, the Board of Commissioners amends Resolution 21-0853, authorizing the revised wage scale and step rate system for full-time and part-time non-bargaining employees of those county departments for which the budget, or for which the Board of Commissioners is appointing authority or co-appointing authority.
Second?
Roll call.
Sabrina,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
Tony.
Yes.
Okay. That was a good job.
That's a lot of work. Thank you.
You're welcome. You fried your calculator?
Thank you.
We have a lot of extras.
Yeah, it's all right, I
Is
just
it-
didn't, we
Oh,
did
okay.
get some extra pieces, that's no worries.
Thank you.
Yep. All right, so with that and the kind of a combination of, with the wage scale that we were looking at, that Jackie's, was working on, the compensation structure, also changed, a bit. So, couple things, in the plan structure on page 2, what we did was we added munis definitions. A lot of departments that I've been talking to in the last year have been confused on when evaluation should be, whether it's a hire date, whether it's a service date. There's a lot of dates in munis. So I worked with, Amanda down in payroll. We kind of confirmed what those definitions are, and we added them into the manual, so it could be a good working document for departments to be able to understand all of those processes. So I made those changes on page 2. On page 3, it references the eligibility of an employee for the step crease. So before it had the 2 years when it hit midpoint. Now with us adopting this new scale, we're gonna, do every year. So we had to put that in the manual and make that complete, so it's into the package deal on that. Also on page 3, performance evaluations. We have looked at kind of redesigning the way that evaluation forms look, incorporating SMART goals, and trying to again give department heads and supervisors that do evaluations with employees the opportunity to have good measurable set goals. So we incorporated the SMART goals theory into the manual so that they could maybe have a unified way of having some consistency with how to handle their evaluations. And then on page 5, we discussed the refactoring. So with refactoring, we have acknowledged that with Clemens and Nelson in the wage study, there has been some changes into our point factoring manual. That was pretty much a lot of what we did with this study. And so if departments are looking to try to see if their jobs need to be refactored, we've incorporated a questionnaire that now the departments will need to complete and fill out. That will help the HR department understand if there's a justifiable significant change in their job description that would warrant a factoring. So what we did was on page 8 and 9 is the actual questionnaire. I've embedded it into the compensation manual. And in there it gives some really great questions that as our HR team can review that. It's a fillable document. We made it a PDF fillable, so it looks nice. It doesn't print nice, but it looks pretty. And so a lot of it is whether or not the essential job functions have changed, has education or licensures requirements changed, has the experience changed, is there a reasoning for the current job needing either a longer experience or maybe a shorter. So that changes whether supervisory duties have been incorporated into this position. And then the other things is whether the current budget would be able to support any type of increase. So again, getting department heads to think about how that impact may happen, and do they have potentially that type of projections in their current budget. We do have positions that are fully funded by grants. So on the secondary page on number 9, it references whether or not this position is paid solely by a grant. So again, that needs to be kind of identified, because if anything changes in the current grant terms, then clearly that could impact the grant, the funds and things in that matter.
Yeah,
So
because
just
they
trying
have to put
think.
in there the compensation. You
Yes.
can't go bumping that up.
Right, yeah, so this is kind of the new questionnaire that will roll out, that kind of will help, again, departments that follow the CMS schedule have some plan of action on what to do. Allows them to see what the questionnaire is, what we need to think about, and what they need to kind of help advocate for why maybe a change needs to occur with the refactoring.
And all the directors having little seance with all of them so they completely grasp.
Yeah, I
Trying
mean,
to-
I think I really haven't fully rolled this out yet.
Mhm.
We've been kind of wanting, to work together, and a good blessing from all of you guys on it. So I just think, yes, it will be an opportunity for me to really have that discussion. I've kind of talked with a few department heads about some things coming down the pipeline, so to have it official, I think, helps out, so we can really, educate the departments and all of that to, what the plan is. It is a very, it's a great plan for succession for employees, and then it's a great plan for guidelines for the department's point of view.
Okay.
Okay. And that's that.
Commissioner Mike, any questions?
I'm good. It was very well done.
And there's nothing else, I can make a motion to adjourn?
Second?
Roll call.
Sabrina?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
Tony?
Yes. Thank you, ladies, good job.
Thank you.
Major, is there anything we can do with you? Okay.